Hey guys, and welcome back to It Adrian Thinks. It's me, Adrian, getting right into this week's video. But first, if you missed my last video for my holiday collard greens, child, you know what to do. Watch this one and then go back and check it out. Because this week, I'm going to show you how to make these delicious, tender, 3-ingredient biscuits. They are amazingly good, and I'm not going to hold you. We're getting right into this recipe.
Okay guys, so I'm going to show you how to make these quick and easy 3-ingredient biscuits. It starts off with 2 cups of self-rising flour. I have 1 cup in here. Here's my 2nd cup. And I'm just using this brand, formerly known as Aunt Jemima, now called the Pearl Milling Company. So any type of self-rising flour you have on hand. And you're going to need 1 stick of butter. I prefer the salted. But if you're watching your salt intake, you can also use the unsalted. Okay, and so here's the thing. With this 1 stick of butter, I'm going to grate it in. Your butter has to be nice and cold. And that grating your butter right in here is going to give you those layers, going to puff right on up. So you're going to love this. So you see how it just comes right on out. Just grate it right in. And if you don't have a grater, don't worry. You can just make a very small dice. So hopefully you can see how fine that is. And so that's going to incorporate right into these biscuits. So nice. So 2 cups of self-rising flour and 1 whole stick of butter. So you can tell already that these are going to be super tender, easy biscuits. Okay, so I'm going to finish grating this butter in, and I'll be back with our next step. So that's my full stick of butter grated. And you want to, if I haven't said before, you want to make sure your butter is super cold, frozen even. My refrigerator is a very cold storage space, so it really keeps it ice cold, so I didn't have to freeze this butter. But if your refrigerator is not as cold as mine, then you definitely want to put it in the freezer and then grate it on in. Okay, so 2 cups of self-rising flour, 1 stick of butter. Now we go in with 1 cup of buttermilk. And you want to use your liquid measure for this. The dry measure is the cup. This is for liquids. And we're going in with 1 cup of this buttermilk. Now I'm not going to add all this at one time. We're going to add a little bit at a time. So I'm going to pour about half in. Just measuring, looking to see that it was at a half a cup. And just want to start to incorporate that in. Now I've always used a spoon if you have a pastry cutter, or you can even use a large fork even. But since we grated the butter, we don't really have to do that. So this is coming together, but you see all the dry measure in the bottom, so we know we need to add a little more liquid. So I'm going to go with another 1/4. And you want to work quick. With biscuits, you got to go quickly, especially when you're using these super cold ingredients. You don't want them to warm up. And that's why I'm not putting my hands in it just yet, because you want to make sure they stay nice and cold as possible until we get them in that oven. All right. And I think I'm going to need my last little bit there. And you want to go, you want to sort of measure this way, a little bit at a time, because depending on the season, the type of year, the flour may be a little drier, may have a little more moisture. So if you add too much, and it's one of those seasons where you have a little more moisture in your flour, you want to go a little shy on your liquid. So now I'm just trying to see if I can gather it up. so. I think we're good. I think we're good. I'm going to add just a splash more. And I mean a splash. Okay. And that should do it. All right, so I'm going to start to build this up now. I just want to start to pull it in. And it may seem a little wet, but that's okay, because that's kind of what we're looking for. We don't want it to be super wet. Like if you've seen my video for my 7-Up biscuits, that's a very moist batter, super filled with a lot of butter. And this one, because we're using the self-rising flour, these are going to puff right on up. So I'm going to get a little flour down on my cutting board here. I'm going to turn out our dough. I'm just bringing it together. So how easy. Just remember 2 cups of flour, 1 stick of butter, 1 cup, and maybe a little more of your buttermilk. So once these come together, then you want to start to fold. We want the biscuits to really be mile high. We want some long biscuits here. And how we get that is by creating layers. And so all I'm doing is just folding over. If you find you have any sticky spots, just take a little bit of your bench flour down there and just put over that little spot. And that is it. All right, so now I'm gonna get my little cutter. You'll see what I'm going to use, because I'm not using a pastry cutter or a biscuit cutter. I'm gonna be right back. So, okay guys, this is my cutter, my wine glass. So you fold over, we fold it. You just want to press down. I don't know if you hear that air releasing. And here's your biscuit. Check that out. You can already see those layers forming. Using my pan, I'm gonna place here. Do a few more. Press down. Don't twist. Hear that air release? Grab your biscuit. Perfect. Okay, I want to show you something. I want my biscuits to sort of buddy up against each other. So they're going to climb and rise a little higher that way. If I separated them, that's fine too. But what's going to happen is that they'll start to topple over and everything. So when they buddy up against each other, they rise up together. Okay. And if you find that your biscuit dough is heating up, meaning that it feels a little warm to the touch, then all you do is just wrap it up in a little plastic wrap and just put it back in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes or so. It'll be fine. All right, so all I'm gonna do, you're gonna gather your dough again, gather it together. Remember we said about the layers. So you want to go back over again, make your layer, and press out. That little release. All right, so I'm going to finish up. And I'll be back. Okay guys, so this biscuit dough yielded 9 biscuits. So my last little guy, I just free-formed that. I'm going to place it right in the middle. These biscuits are going in a 450-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. All right, I'll be back. All right guys, so these actually took about 17 minutes in my oven. So set your timer anywhere from between 12 minutes to 17 minutes, just depending on the darkness that you would like to achieve on your biscuits. You want a nice golden crust, then you might want to let it run a little longer. So I'm just glazing these over with some, and I might say very generously, with some melted butter. But I just want to show you how these look. All right, so let me just put that to the side and show you these beautiful biscuits. Look at that. We were talking about those layers. Do you see them? You want to count them? It's like a tree. Look. And look, guys. Ooh, so good. It's so tender. Look at that. Butter these up, guys. Make them for your family. 3 ingredient biscuits. Mile high. All right, guys, till next time. If you're not a subscriber, what you waiting on, child? Come on in here and see what I'm doing in this kitchen. Making these beautiful biscuits. Make them for your next family meal. They're so beautiful and they are hot. But you know I got them kitchen hands, guys, so don't worry about it. Till next time. Oh, let me show you the bottom. Look at that. I didn't flip these babies over. What you say? Dolce de leche? Caramel. It is. I just said that. You should see my son whip his head around. Like, what? All right, guys. Biscuits.